fades from sight.
Hello everybody and welcome to another Neil Plays video where he will be playing Seer based on the guide that we gave him. Hopefully he read it. My name is SUNSfan, joined by the one and only syndereN. How are you? Good, sir. I'm excited.
How are you, good, sir? Good. Hopefully we had a little bit of problem with the sound. I'm still good, right?
Yep, you're good to go.
Awesome.
I'll let you
Cool.
know.
Yeah, buddy. So we're gonna have Neil playing as Seer, as you mentioned, and he's going to be playing the Offlane role in this game. Neil is off to a great start. He's gonna get stunned, last worded, and pounced on, and that's gonna be first blood. Good. Okay. This is welcome to
This is what he sent us.
Seer.
Awesome.
So, let's talk a little bit about. So obviously he did get first blooded. I want to talk about his item build to begin with. This is what you will often go for in the offlane. Getting stout shield is really good. Obviously you're a melee hero. Plenty of health regen with a salve and tangos, a clarity as well as a branch. This is a pretty standard offlane build to go for in this game. Now Neil is going to be playing up against a trial lane, and the first mistake he made was not assessing the situation of what he was up against. So considering the enemy heroes and the way they would probably be laning, it would be Clockwork offlane, Dragon Knight mid, and then Silencer, Nyx, and Slark top, which was exactly the case. So what Neil did was he went way too far up the lane, he exposed himself to the Impale, and then he got killed off of that. So this, what he's doing right now, is what he should have done in the first wave. Put the Iron Shell on the second creep, so that the creep, when the creep waves clash, you don't have your Iron Shell creep getting hit first, so you always put it on the second creep. And then as soon as you can, you put it on a secondary creep on the wave. Now he's got level 2. And he could have perhaps had this in the first creep wave, but he got messed up by that first blood. Now we'll see how he chooses to deal with this. He goes AFK. Alright, he just tapped, I think.
Well, keep in mind that the lane he is going up against, of course, he didn't know for sure what it would be, but I think he could guess based on the lineups here.
Yeah, it was pretty likely.
Right, but the lineup that they have is pretty good against Seer because they can layer the stuns decently well, so that your Surge isn't really... I mean, even if he had Surge, he wouldn't have gotten away there, I don't think. Unless he had used it like right off the bat, then maybe. I'd have to watch it again. But either way, obviously not the case.
The thing is, you generally don't want to skill Surge on level 1, because in the offlane, or any lane for that matter, Iron Shell is what gives you farm, and it's what allows you to try and control the lane equilibrium, basically. So what Neil could be doing, and what he should be doing right here, is he should have Iron Shelled that previous wave, because then he would have pushed out the wave, and he would have perhaps got a CS or 2 with it, and then he could have pulled... This is what you do on the Radiant. You obviously go and pull the big spawn towards your creep wave. And you can only do that by pushing out first, so that you get the opening to get your wave in. If he tried to pull now, Nyx would probably just mess it up for him. But if he's pushing, maybe he gets the opportunity. So this is hard. He doesn't know where Silencer is. He is, in fact, missing. So I like that Neil is playing this pretty safely right now. But since he does have Surge, I don't think he can get killed anymore, unless if he gets completely locked down perfectly by stun into pounce and then get silenced. Oh,
somebody's at Secret Shop. Are they coming for him? Who is that? That's Silencer though. So not
Silencer with Illus. He might get dove here. We're gonna
if they
see
had
if
triple stuns, they could like, secure a kill on Neil almost every time. But well, I'm gonna consider Slark's pounce as a stun, I guess. But
man, this is legit illusion usage.
Hey, he just needed
loses both illusions and takes 2 hits on the hero for nothing. So okay.
Pub games,
now,
man. Keep in mind that he is
to stay safe.
Keep in mind that he is in the easy lane, or not the easy off lane, I guess you could call it. The dire is just so much more difficult. So he's in a good spot. Even despite giving up first blood, I think he's still in a decent spot.
I think considering the lane he had in the start he should have at least been level 3 now, perhaps a bit more. And the way he could have secured that was, as I mentioned, by playing a little more confidently with the Iron Shells, making sure to push out. Now he grabs a bit of experience. That was very nice. Gets level 3. And then if he manages to pull the Ancients, if nothing, or not the Ancients, but the big camp, even if he doesn't kill them, maybe he gets XP by being in the AoE, or he kills off his own creep wave, and then the enemy will push his tower. That's mainly the play you make in the Radiant offlane, and the main reason why it's so much better than the Dire offlane is, of course, it's easier to be in XP range while being fairly safe, and the ability to pull the big camp is what really makes a difference to a hero like Seer.
Yeah, for people that don't keep up with the changes that happen to Dota over time, that's what I'm here for, because that's all I talk about apparently. But
history with SUNSfan.
Yes, what you basically talked about with the neutrals, that was a change. I think that was 6.8 where they changed so neutrals give experience to everybody that's around it.
Before that, 6.78 maybe.
Well,
7, 8, 7,
either
9.
way, that was a huge change for off. Are you sure that was that early?
It's a somewhat old change. Yeah,
okay. Well, either way, that that frees it up for a lot of heroes to be able to offlane without trouble. And of course, Darkseer never really wouldn't call him a hero that had trouble offlaning. So just that in itself gives you a lot more opportunity to get easy levels, which obviously desperately needed on a hero like Darkseer.
So what Neil is doing now is good. Now we're seeing fragments of what I said he should be doing. He should have been doing this a lot more. But he did manage to grab a couple of last hits there and push out. That means he almost has his soul ring. Now instead of looking mid, he should be pulling the big camp right now, which he's not doing.
He's trying to keep it entertaining for us.
Oh look guys, I'm gonna help with my 40 mana. I can almost TP there. So he should be pulling the big camp. He could still do it. He has the perfect setup right now. He's just not aware of the opportunity. But the good thing about seeing this is that it highlights the problem he would be having if he were dire. Because then he couldn't do that. So if you're off lane with Darkseer on the dire and you're up against a hard lane, if they're really good, they can keep you from leveling at all. And then your backup plan will always be to go jungle. And that's why if you skill Surge on level 1, you can't even jungle. So Iron Shield is an absolute necessity. I would say in 99 out of 100 games you will skill Iron Shield level 1. The only scenario where I can really imagine it's good to skill Surge is if it can give you a first blood.
I didn't think that pounce hit, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that really didn't hit, but apparently it did.
I mean, when I played Slark, even narrower than that, I never hit those, so it's questionable at best, Volvo. Come on now.
Neil did say before he gave us this that he got completely crushed in the lane. So what I'm curious to see is how he recovers.
Well, the good news is he spent all his money before he died, so that's one good thing about it.
Yeah. He does have the soul ring, so now he has the choice. There's a lot of experience to be gained top, so he is running up there. He's probably going to be too late for it, so I guess he should have had a TP. Neil, look at your lane.
He's just walking, man.
He did die. Neil needs to be a caster. He needs to do camera control.
Better than me, I know. Hell yeah.
That's not an accomplishment. He will... I'm such a badass. That was the wrong word. I'm such an
You know
idiot.
what's funny though? Not to get off another tangent
word.
here.
Words.
I don't even know why I say that not to get off another tangent, because I actually like it. So to get off to another tangent, people that complain about main casters camera, I wish we could switch to the co-caster sometimes, because I am sure that it is like 10 times worse. Because especially like pro players like or ex-pro players, or even pro players, they move the camera so jerkily. You know what I mean? Like it's way too they're just looking at everything. It's pretty crazy. But it's not for the light of heart for people that get motion sickness and whatnot. But here you're seeing some pulling action as well.
Yeah. So this is great. What Neil is doing right now. You see, this is the perfect example of what he could have done in the last 5 minutes instead of right now. So he did manage to go out there. He did manage to get the pull off. He gets some experience, he gets some farm, and now Lich has joined to help him. So when he decided to go back to the top lane, he actually had the choice. Since he got killed and was back to base and had his soul ring in level 3, he could start going jungle. And what you want to do if you do that is you go to one of the bigger camps, you stack it once or twice while farming one of the smaller camps, and then you can farm a triple stack with level 2 Iron Shell by putting an Iron Shell in a small creep, and then afterwards an Iron Shell in a big creep. Then you kill almost the entire camp, and then you can just finish it with your hero. So I think in this case, maybe Neil should have done that, considering how poorly his lane went. But that would have been more interesting if he were dire, because then he didn't have the backup plan that we've mentioned a couple of times he should be using. So keep that in mind, especially if you're dire Darkseer. The jungle is there for you, and you're actually a really damn good jungler. I think Darkseer is he's incredibly fast.
Once you get Soul Ring dire side, your suggestion, if it's a decently tough lane you're going against, is just
Dire's middle
yeah,
tower
unless if you either can mess up the safe laner's farm because it's a melee hero who struggles with Iron Shell, or if you constantly need to defend your tower, if they're pushing you really hard and Iron Shell is your only way of defending it. Else go jungle. I think when you're level 3 with Darkseer, I think if you do it perfectly and you start in the jungle, you can get level 6 at about 6 minutes if you get a good run. So if you're level 3 when you go into the jungle, you can get more than a level per minute. And if you compare that to most offlane games, how often do you find an offlaner being level 6 in 6 minutes? That's really not that frequent. So, but that of course depends on the jungle being open. It depends on you. It means you're opening up your offlane completely as well. So there's something to keep in mind. But yeah, Neil's dead.
Dragon Tail.
To be fair, he is also getting countered pretty hard. Now Dragon Knight even moved up there.
Well, I think they recognized him. I think at the beginning of the game they said, why oh wait, was this? Maybe I'm thinking of the Lich game. I don't know. One of the games they asked him why he wasn't playing Pudge. So
yeah, that was the start of this game.
Okay, start of this game. I know from experience when they do recognize you Their goal is to kill you over and over.
Oh,
and
trust
over.
me, I know.
Yes.
If you think it's bad for Neil, try to be me in some games.
Would you suggest getting boots first before not vitality, before energy booster?
Tower is under attack.
I would say, generally, if you're having a good game as Darkseer, you want to get Soul Ring and then skip the boots and go straight mech. But this game is hard for Neil, so maybe the mech is going to come really late, and perhaps the timing of it is not going to... Yeah, maybe it's better for him to get the boots first. Now, what I would do if I were Neil now is to get my mech.
Okay.
Because if he gets Arcane Boots first, I mean, it's great to have a big mana pool, but he doesn't need it yet, because he doesn't have his ult, and his full combo costs about half his mana pool right now, and the Soul Ring is more than enough to sustain him in terms of casting Iron Shells to push the wave and farm the jungle. And the mech would be really great for his team to have, so...
Well, speaking of combos, their team, now that I look at it, has some pretty good synergy overall. Axe Initiation with a lot of team fight, Gyro, Darkseer, Lich, and then there's Tinker.
This is a great Darkseer lineup.
But the problem is Silencer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We'll see how that comes into effect.
And Clockwork is actually really annoying if he jumps in on you at Darkseer as well.
Man, he's hit every pounce, this guy.
This is going to end pretty well. Neil should be committing a lot more here, because they're using everything on Axe.
Take my Ion Shell!
Yeah. So, since everything is being used on Axe, what Neil should be doing is that he should join the fight and start hitting them, and then if they kill Axe, he maybe gets a return kill. If they don't, he just surges away. Because if that fight goes on, he will have a second Iron Shell, and he puts that on himself. The enemy heroes, he would have got a kill there, I think, if he committed. So, he's probably just traumatized from the early game. Feels like he can't do anything.
I don't blame him.
But when you get high levels on Iron Shell, you are surprisingly strong, even if you've had a terrible game. Level 4 Iron Shell on 2 targets at once at the 10-minute mark is absolutely crazy. He doesn't have it in level 4, he has level 3, but still. Putting 2 of those, getting 1 on X and 1 on himself, they can take a 2 on 3 against melee heroes easily, because Iron Shell is just that good.
When you said, actually I have no idea what you said. Something you said reminded me of this, not reminded me, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I have to give kudos to Neil for putting himself out there. You know, he's not exactly the guy that wants to be center of attention or anything like that. He's not really a main personality on the channel. He's just, well, I shouldn't say just, but obviously he's the owner and whatnot. It takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there with your gameplay on YouTube, I have to say. As you probably know, people just, they backseat Dota quite a bit, and it may seem like it's not a big deal to the people commenting, but for people that aren't used to it, which I'm guessing Neil isn't used to, because, well, like for you and I, we've been doing it for years, you know what I mean? So it's like, doesn't affect us nearly as much. But for a normal person, I guarantee you, they put a YouTube video of themselves playing, people rip them apart, which happens in every video, even if you play well. They cry themselves to sleep. So kudos to Neil for putting himself out there like that.
Kudos to Neil for crying himself to sleep for us.
That too.
It's very nice. But you're right. It really does take some courage. And the nice thing about this that we talked about before we started doing these gameplay series was that the good point about having Neil playing this is, you know, the alternative, for example, would be, yeah, he's gonna die to last word here. We could have had you playing the heroes, or we could have had Neil, or we could have had me. One of the ideas was me playing them and talking about it myself. The problem was, as far as recording goes, that the quality for me would not be as good.
That's another reason we don't have
FPS.
dual cam on our A to Z challenges. Because your
Also
quality
because
of game, it looks like you're playing League of Legends, for God's sake, Syndrome. Good God.
Oh, it's not that
Your
bad.
graphics are horrible!
But yeah, that was an option we were talking about, but I think the really good point about this is that Neil's varied experience / inexperience with heroes actually gives a pretty accurate picture of how games will generally be, whereas the games I will be playing will generally be quite higher in terms of overall skill level in the game. So this is kind of it fits better for the purpose of the series to have Neil play. So we're really happy he...
Well, and just to piggyback off that a bit, you're exactly right. The fact that it's a good representation of a normal... I mean, I think he's... Well, I shouldn't say that. He's actually quite a high skill level compared to normal people. MMR is like 4,600 or something like that. So obviously that's higher. But still, I know for a fact that Neil, a lot like me, we focus on specific heroes that we just play like constantly. You know what I mean? Like I know he loves Timbersaw, Mirana, obviously Pudge, and when you put him out of his comfort zone, this is like actual normal experience for like maybe not the newest player, but somebody that's been playing a while that isn't used to playing specific roles that No, they're generally not used to playing.
It kind of fits very well that it becomes a learning with Neil instead of learning from Neil, kind of, if you get my point.
Yep.
It's like we get to see his mistakes instead of him just showing us this is how you play the hero. It's kind of a neutral way of showcasing what heroes can and can't do and what you need to be careful of. So, yeah, big thanks to Neil so far, friend. I think you're absolutely right.
So he
is
chose
going to
not
go
to
for the
go
mech, by the way.
arcane. Yeah, so he heard you.
Which is good choice.
This is a
it's
live
still gonna
game.
Be a late mech.
This is a live game for the guys that don't know. We're talking to Neil right now. That's a joke, by the way.
Oh.
In case people don't know, that's me joking. It's actually a VOD. This is a complete game. This Slark's just roaming to his heart's content, doing whatever the hell he wants. Picking up everybody. Will Neil actually be able to get this?
This is where Neil is gonna shell. He just needs to use the wall here.
Oh.
That is not a good wall.
Well, it could have been if he wasn't silenced. See, the vacuum comes to play. Oh, no, okay. Never mind. I know this is not a hero that Neil is comfortable with, so we'll be, and myself as well, actually. The wall vacuum combo is not the easiest thing, I would say.
Especially not when your vacuum is level 1 or level 2, as it was, but the way he is supposed to play, let's talk a little bit about that, because that Slark is dead right there. So what he needs to do is he puts the Iron Shell on himself, he surges, and then he move clicks. This is a nice trick with Darkseer and Juggernaut that I think a lot of people aren't aware of. If you click M and then left click on a target, you follow them. You don't attack, you just follow. So if you're playing Juggernaut and you use Blade Fury and you click M and click on the target, they can't really juke you as long as you're in vision because you will just constantly trail them around.
This, of course, for people that don't know, this does not go through Fog of War, obviously.
Yeah, so
clarify.
as long as you see them, which he did there with Slark, he could have Iron Shelled himself and just move click the Slark. And then when he sees the Slark is low enough, he just does a pounce. Sorry, not a pounce, a punch with the Darkseer and gets the kill. But seemed a little bit uncertain about that right there, and make sure you make use of that with Darkseer. It's one of the best heroes in the game, actually, to use that move trick on.
It's a cool trick.
In addition to that, if the Slark did get a bit away like he did, Neil could have put the wall in a better position, simply. That was just misaimed. He was guessing Slark's movement. Your goal is to force him into a situation where he can only go in one direction, and then you can't miss the wall.
This Slark, man, what is his score? 9 and oh my goodness. So Slark, of course, one of those heroes that once he gets off to a good start, it's very tough to contain him. Very big snowball. As far as his mech is concerned, as we're going to see Slark destroy even more enemy.
I think Neil might kill him here.
Oh.
Yep.
See. Dark
Radiant's
Pact.
bottom tower is under attack.
Oh.
Dire's
maybe not.
top
Shadow
tower
Dance,
is
I mean.
under attack.
It was an okay attempt at the wall there. The damage wasn't going to be enough, but the positioning of it was pretty good. It hit the Dragon Knight on the outer side, and it would have hit the Slark on the inside if he
Dire's
hadn't
top
pounced like
tower
that.
is under
So
attack.
that was okay. Now, a little bit about timing as far as
Radiant's
farm
bottom
goes.
tower
When you're
is
playing
under
Offlane
attack.
Darkseer, if you have a good game, you'll have a sub 10-minute mech. If you have a hard game, you should definitely have it at 15. And the reason Neil doesn't have it is that he hasn't only had a hard game,
Radiant's middle
but he also
tower
hasn't
is under
optimized his
attack.
farm at all. And it's one of the things when you look at higher skilled games, what really often separates very high skilled from high skilled is their ability to farm the map and constantly do something in the game. So there's actually many players who, in terms of playing their heroes mechanically, are very good in the mid-range of individual player skill, but who just don't use the map well enough to get their farm. And in this game, this is a good example of it, where Neil has had a hard game. If he's an experienced Darkseer, he will know he has to go to the jungle, and he will find that farm and have the mech still at 15 minutes. But he has crippled himself way more because he has been, how can I put this? He has accepted being dominated. And what you need to do is you always need to think, okay, how can I maximize my impact on the game instead of, oh, I'm screwed, I can't do anything.
Well, he is a masochist, so he's going to get hook shot. Perfect timing there, Neil. And he's going to get blown up. He is currently wow, he's actually died 7 times. That's surprising. I don't think it was that many. Not having the greatest of games.
And that's the really big point, right? Is
But he
that
did finish the mech.
he has kept dying instead of going to the jungle and just been getting more out of that, because it's fine to die a lot as long as it contributes to the game and contributes to your team's success, but most of Neil's deaths have been unnecessary and haven't really helped anything. So he could have got more from just jungling. But it is certainly a hard game, so let's not harp on it too much. But it's something worth mentioning, I feel, because it's a general thing for every single game, and no matter what role you play, always be critical to yourself. How can I do the most right now?
I'm
and
not gonna lie.
sometimes it is by giving up your lane.
The games that Neil doesn't do well, I feel like are more educational. Actually, we should just start taking games where he doesn't do well. It's not gonna make him look good, maybe, but I think there is more things to learn that way. You know, it's like other than yeah, do this, he did this right, that's fine. And of course, you could say this stuff he did wrong, but when it's so glaring in a game like this, I think it's beneficial. Nice
This is a pretty good wall. Nice vacuum as well. Now he used the entire duration of the Shadow Dance on that. They have a sentry down. Good Iron Shell on the Gyro. Gyro is one of the ranged carries that Iron Shell makes the most sense of because he wants to commit in the fight with Rocket Barrage in this stage, so he can actually use the Iron Shell. Okay, Gyro is hunting. Neil is being left here. I'm not sure what... Okay, he actually did get the kill. Oh, he got 2. Oh, good job.
Great job, Gyrocopter. Well done. As you saw, Clockwork randomly initiate upon Neil. That's just, again, just goes to show you they're really targeting Neil because of his name.
And you can just see here, it's not a coincidence that the moment Neil gets the mech, he has the best fight in the game. Because one thing is that he has the heal, but another one is how it allows him to play the hero. So it's great to have the heal, but it's also the confidence you can play with knowing that you have the heal, what you can go for. So he can play more confidently, he can go in and get a wall, he can go in and commit a bit with Iron Shell, and even if you're having a bad game, the moment you start getting 1 or 2 items on Darkseer, you start immediately feeling the feedback from the game that you're getting strong, and that you can get away with things. And that's what I mean when I say if he had the mech like 6 or 7 minutes earlier than he did, he could have easily had a much higher impact in this game. Here we go, Iron Shell on Gyro. Good vac again.
Oh my god, this
He should have used the mech earlier though. I don't know if it was on cooldown. He could have saved the Gyro there perhaps, or done some more damage, but yeah. Slark is out of control now. And a big part of this was, as we mentioned a couple of times, Neil dying too much in the lane, and then of course Slargus was just one of those snowball heroes who is insane in pub games. So this is a very common
common problem
very common
in
Slark game.
It's an epidemic in pubs, you know. I wouldn't put him in the epidemic range, but there's some here. Like I guess Ember used to be, as well as Terrorblade and Phoenix.
Bottom tower has fallen.
What does he go for? So does he actually need the Arcane Boost at this point? Once you hit the level 2 ult, is that the point where you start needing more mana? Because we're seeing the nice wall here and a big Culling Blade.
This is good. One thing I really want to commend Neil on in this game is how much he's using the wall. I see a lot of times players who have the wall and just hesitate to use it because they're waiting for that wombo combo where you hit like 3 or 4 men into wall vacuum. That right there might have just secured them the kill. That he used a 1-man wall. It gave them a little bit of extra damage they needed to bring him into the Culling Blade range. And even though it is an ultimate, as with every other ultimate in the game, if you can secure a kill with it, it's generally a good idea. You don't... It's the same with like Finger of Death. Some people, they're like, oh, but it's such a long cooldown, I don't know if I want to use it. Use it, get your kill, move on in the game.
Well, I think
then you have it again in 2 minutes.
I think as far as teamfight ultimates are concerned, Darkseer's ult has to be on the low end as far as cooldowns are concerned. It's really not that long. It's
100, it's not really that long.
Yeah, wasting it, it's hard to waste it, I guess is what you're trying to say.
But look at his mana pool right now. So he has 660 mana, Vacuum costs 190, Iron Shell costs 130, that's 320. Surge costs 30, that's 350. And Wall costs 200, that's 550. He cannot use all of his spells plus mech right now without using Soul Ring. That means he needs mana.
So he did not upgrade his ult to level 2 yet. Do you think?
This is okay. The main thing that actually scales well with upgrading this ultimate is the cast range and the duration. The outgoing damage on the illusions, that extra 10% to me is really not relevant.
Negligible.
And the extra 100 mana cost, he can't support it right now. So I completely agree with this decision.
I never realized it was 100 per level extra. That's pretty insane. But the duration is like so much longer.
It's crucial mainly for base defense purposes. In many cases, the 15-second duration is what the team fight takes anyway. But if it is a long extended fight or a long extended defense, then it can be really useful to have a higher level. So now if I kneel, I either get Arcanes or a point booster.
Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Well, point booster, I guess. So,
yeah.
Arcane, I would think like a Blink or a Force Staff would be next on the table, and not I would put Ags. I wouldn't highly rate Ags that much on Darkseer anymore. Okay. But not before like
it
Blink
depends on the game.
Force Staff.
So the main reason, or the only reason actually, you upgrade the Ag Scepter is to get the higher illusion damage. Okay, we're gonna wait until this fight is over, then I'll talk about that. Global Silence, great counters to Darkseer. Silencer in general, great counters to Darkseer. You know, you want to use Wall into Vacuum, or the other way around, depending on the scenario. If you're last worded, you can only use one of them. It's like a really good counter to Darkseer, actually. Because he's such a combo-dependent hero. Good Iron Shell here on Axe.
Oh, that was good.
Nice Vac Wall. Very good.
Beautiful combo, Neil. Is he using
Gets 3 into that.
I guess the
redeeming
illusions
himself right here.
Is he using the illusions? Can't tell if it's micro.
I don't think he has any right now.
Had one. Randomly
I think it died.
running around.
That was a good back wall. Very nicely done. Okay.
Radiant's top tower
Where
is
was
under
I?
attack.
I was going to say something. Ags, yeah. It's Neil.
Ooh, he missed one.
Dodge the pounce. He's out of here. So you want to get Ags if the enemy has carries, which you get insane illusions out of. And a good rule of thumb is agility-based carries are the best copies you can get.
Dragon Knight's pretty damn good too, though. Level
And
2.
Dragon Knight. That's the reason why I think it's okay here, because a Slark illusion right now with 140% damage, which it is on level 3 wall with Ags, and the Dragon Knight in Elder Dragon form are two really powerful illusions. Keep in mind that illusions are, of course, attribute-based. So, for example, an item like MKB or something like that on Slark will not benefit your illusion. But he has a Skadi, which gives him a lot of stats, which are great for the illusions that Neil makes, and also a drum. The illusion from Slark is going to be pretty good. So I would say, situational. This is not the worst game. It's also not the best. Generally, the best hero in the game, I think, to get a really good illusion off is Morphling, because he goes all into agility, and then that illusion hits really hard. And fast, so it's crazy. It's the same reason Disruption and other illusion-based abilities are really good against him. So I will say it's okay here. I still think, like you said, Blink Dagger would be a great choice, especially because maybe he can catch them by surprise and Silencer won't silence him in time. Good wall again, by the way. He gets Darks. He gets the Slark. He pulls him back in again. This disallows Nyx from getting in.
Calling Blade not quite enough to get the kill. Made one illusion, make that 2. I haven't seen him, not that I can blame him, because I'm not exactly the most micro-intensive person.
Yeah, I know.
But he's letting the, yeah, you know better than most. He's just letting the illusions, for the most part, just do their own thing.
Yeah, it's something to keep in mind. You should be controlling your illusions as much as possible, because it's something a lot of people forget about the wall. It's not just pulling them in and dealing the damage. The illusions are really damn good, but they need to be controlled, else they just hit the nearest target. And it's a big waste if you hit creeps with these sick illusions like the Slark. So make sure after you vac wall, you can just drag drop a box on the screen, select all the units, and then attack a target. It's very minimal effort and has a high impact, especially in late game.
Dragon Knight, level 16. Beautiful dragon form. Neil about 1200, 1100 away from finishing this Ag Scepter. Obviously the stats it gives are amazing. I wouldn't say, okay, generally speaking they're amazing. I think Darkseer in particular is actually really good. Extra mana pool, extra from both the point booster and the Staff of Wizardry. Am I actually calling that right? Yes. I think it's Ogre Club is the one they changed, right? It used to be Ogre Axe. That's the one I always forget.
Bottom tower is under attack.
I think that's also one of the traps, if you will, why many people get Ags and Darkseer in games where it's actually not that good, because it's tempting because of the stats, but you should really remember that if the Axe upgrade itself, nice vac wall again by Neil, mech as well, not going to be used yet, actually don't need it. That's Darkseer on defense right there. Beautiful play by Neil again. Considering how terrible his early game was, I feel like he has already redeemed himself and is keeping his team in the game right now, to be honest.
Man, this
with these vacuum walls. That was really good. But yeah, in my book, Axe and Darkseer, only if the enemy has really good carries to make illusions out of. Else I would say other stuff is better. Shiva's Guard, Blink Dagger, Scythe of Ice. Yeah, those items are generally the ones to go to. Sometimes Force Staff is nice.
What item this game would you go for instead of the Ags?
I think Shiva's Guard in this game is actually pretty damn good. So he still had Mon troubles, and he's playing against Slark, who goes in close, Nyx, who goes in close, Dragon Knight, who goes in close, and Clock, who goes in close. So he can expect to hit multiple targets with the vacuum wall because they need to commit as a group. And then he can pull them into the wall and then Shiva's them. Then they're really in trouble. So that would have been my personal item of choice here, but I still, as I said, Ags can work. And we're gonna see if he manages to win a team fight by getting an insane Slark illusion, you know, then it's also been a good choice.
Remains to be seen. He can actually finish this very, very shortly. Needs to get to that secret shop though, as we're seeing somebody get initiated upon on the mini-map. Neil's not paying attention to his team. Typical. Slark, oh boy, you better be careful, buddy. Okay, use it. Remember, Vacuum has been nerfed so much as far as cooldown. It has an insane cooldown. It's, what is it, 29 seconds or something like that?
28.
So ridiculous. That's got to be one of the
It
highest.
is a very powerful ability.
True. I want to know what the highest cooldown is for a non-ultimate.
And non-ultimate Metamorphosis for Terrorblade. It's like 140 seconds.
Oh yeah. Well, that used to be his ultimate too, right?
I'm personally not that big a fan of that design of having a non-ultimate on such a long cooldown, but it's the way Terrorblade works right now. That's 140 seconds. I think Tombstone is 60.
Yeah,
which
that's true. Tombstone's pretty ridiculous.
To me kind of should be.
Radiant's
I don't want to say should be, but it makes sense to having that as an upper bound for a non-ultimate ability. Right, here we go. This could be really good for Neil.
There it is. He gets
very
two.
nice.
Gotta control them. Oh, the nice cogs though. Just have Surge along with
Neil
Iron
can
Shell.
catch up to him and kill him here.
Oh, fail hook, but there's the mech. And the rest of the Dire team.
Trouble.
Top tower is under attack.
Start gonna hit a pounce from across the map.
Okay.
Nope. Not happening this time.
Radiant's top tower.
Right, well, he got the
has
axe.
fallen.
He's happy.
I really love this game as a way of showcasing Darkseer, because we've seen his early game weakness and what you need to be careful of, and I feel like Neil is actually playing really well now. So he's been showing both the biggest weaknesses and the biggest strengths of the hero in the same game. So I'm a big fan of this as a gameplay guide video.
I'm happy you're glad, syndereN. It makes me happy that you're happy, you know?
It's like an infinite loop, because I also get happy. No, wait, that's when you're miserable.
So mean to me though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I've never done anything to you except talk crap all the time. Nothing though.
Oh, it's okay. I'm used to that.
So it's looking like, well, Slark is just, he's been out of control for quite a while. I'm actually interested in what his items are. He's 17 at 2 at this point, and you said he had a Scotty, he had the Lothars. Actually not as farmed as I thought he would be, considering how many kills he's gotten, but it's just a really difficult hero to contain once he gets started. Here comes the call down.
This could be a good vacuum.
This wall is not up. Actually a really good Lich ult.
Nice combo with Lich, yeah.
But of course Shadow Dance will avoid a lot of that damage, and it will stop bouncing as a result. He's going to pick up a kill, but Slark is going to clean up everyone.
This is where Neil needs to drop the wall and fight him. Oh, he put it too far. Because if he puts that wall on top of Slark, he can beat him one-on-one, because the illusion is just that strong. Not from full HP, but since Slark was low, Neil could have perhaps got that, but missed the wall by a little bit.
Radiant structures are
So he missed the
fortified.
opportunity there. Yeah, I felt like this game, if Neil dies, his team he has been keeping them the game the last 10 minutes. So if he dies early on, or if they get caught out like that, and he doesn't get a very good combo, the enemy team is so far ahead that they end up losing.
I feel like a lot of, like when you're pubbing, a lot of people struggle against, and I struggle as well, against certain heroes that you're not used to seeing as much, that have huge impact on the game, such as the Silencer ult, or, for me in particular, Omni Knight ult. And I think although Slark is obviously dominating, I think a lot of it has to do with people just being confused. I mean, look how many people are so dependent on using their skills, like before a team fight even, for the Radiant. I'd say Silencer. Silencer is my weird MVP this game, just the pick alone. And people not being able to, or not being, what am I trying to say? Not used to playing against him? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I know you don't have that problem, syndereN. You play with pros all the time.
Yeah, I feed so much to them, and they love it.
Everybody loves
I'm planning on starting my own show, the Dota 2 chef.
How to feed?
But it's not me cooking, it's me just giving food to other people.
I'd watch that, I think.
Alright, there's the wall. Let's see how strong this illusion is. Just look at it, actually. It's hitting. Look at Slark taking damage right now.
Yeah.
He's being. He almost got killed by his own illusion there.
Let's see him use his illusions here. Come on.
See some micro. Look at that!
Oh,
bye, Sansa. You're gonna
miss. Oh, nice.
Neil.
No miss chance, man.
Fuddy flashy.
Alright, now he just needs Slark to walk through the wall again. He can do it all over again. On Slark.
Yeah, come on. He can do it. He
Yeah.
wants to? Nope, he does not want to. But yeah, this game is reaching its conclusion. There's 1 minute left on the replay, so
Radiant's
they're gonna
middle
just throne it
tower
now.
is under
I don't
attack.
think Neil gets to play his hero anymore this game.
No, I'm sure he's happy.
Maybe
I think he
barely.
played 4 or 5 games before he's like, fuck it, just use this shitty game. He wants to look good, but it's just not one of his heroes.
Well, I would honestly be surprised if any of
Radiant's
the other
middle
games he
tower
played
has
was a
fallen.
better showcase game than
Radiant's
this one. I
middle
feel like
tower is under attack.
it's one of the best we've had,
Radiant's
not in
middle
terms of how
tower
good the
has
game
fallen.
was or how well Neil played, but how it showed the whole
Radiant's ancient is under attack.
kind of the whole scale of what the hero
Right.
can and can't do. So there's the game. Slark is gonna take that down.
Dire victory.
What a pro. So, you guys got to see Neil play some Darkseer. Give him some love, man. We ripped him up. I don't think we rip him apart, but...
No, we don't. I'm being critical but fair, and I'm giving credit where it's due.
Yeah, but you secretly hate Neil, too.
Totally.
Alright, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This was Neil Plays Darkseer. So until the next guide, we'll see you next time. Have a good night, or day, or everything in between.
Bye.